Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen amma ba'd fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim As-salatu wa salamu alayka ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. Dars from Quranic Wonders, Part 1, Number 1, Heavenly Staff. It was the holy staff of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, which is commonly known as Asa'e Musa. Several miracles exhibited by Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam were by virtue of this holy staff. These miracles have been mentioned by the Holy Quran under different topics repeatedly. The history of this holy staff is very ancient, and it comprises of hundreds of historical events that impart thousands of moral lessons. Those who possess the spiritual insight can avail the light of guidance from these events. The staff was as tall as Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, i.e. 10 arms length, which is approximately 15 feet. Its head was split into two branches that would emit the light at night like a lamp. It was made from the heavenly tree of Salvadora persica, and Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam had brought it with him from the paradise. The excellence of the blessed staff has been mentioned by Sayyid Ali Ujhuri radiyallahu ta'ala anhu in his couplets, the translation of which are: 5 things descended from the paradise with Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Firstly, oud, the fragrant wood. The blessed staff of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, which is made up of the great wood of Salvadora persica. The leaves of the fig tree, Hajar al-Aswad, present in Makkah Mu'azzama, and the holy ring of the blessed Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. These were the 5 things that were descended from the paradise. Oud, the blessed staff, the leaves of the fig tree, Hajar al-Aswad, and the holy ring of the blessed Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. After Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, the holy staff was passed on as prophetic heritage to several distinguished prophets alayhi salatu wasalam, one after the other. Then finally it reached Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam, who was a prophet sent to the people of Madian. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam migrated from Egypt to Madian, Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam got his daughter Sayyidina Safura radiyallahu ta'ala anha married with Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam served Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam for 10 years. He alayhi salam would herd the goats of Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam during that period. At that time, upon receiving the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam gave the holy staff to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam left Madian for his homeland, Egypt, with his blessed wife and reached in the sacred valley of Tuwa, Allah Azza wa Jal blessed him with a glimpse of his divine light and raised his rank by bestowing him with the prophethood. The Holy Quran describes how Allah Azza wa Jal addressed Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam at the time in these following words. Translation from Kanzul Iman. And what is this in your right hand, O Musa? He said, it is my staff. I lean on it. I knock down leaves for my sheep with it, and there are my other works in it. In this context, other works that were accomplished through that staff, Sayyidina Alama Abdul Barakat Abdullah bin Ahmad Nasfi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned following things in tafsir of this part of the Quranic verse. Number 1, holding it and walking, taking its support. Number 2, talking to it as a pastime. Number 3, the staff becoming a tree and providing shade during the daytime. Number 4, in the night time, the 2 forked branches of the staff would glow and provide light. Number 5, using it as a protection against enemies, wild beasts, snakes and scorpions. Number 6, At the time of drawing out water from a well, the staff would turn into a rope and its two forked branches would turn into a bucket. Number 7. As and when required, the staff would turn into a tree and would bear desired fruits. Number 8. Water would emerge upon pegging the staff into the ground. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam used to perform the above mentioned things with the holy staff. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam went to the court of Pharaoh to guide him towards the right path, Pharaoh denied Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and blamed him to be a magician. Thereafter, wonderful miracles were exhibited through the blessed staff. The Holy Quran has mentioned 3 of those miracles repeatedly. Number 1. Staff became a serpent. Once, Pharaoh arranged a huge carnival and gathered all of the magicians of his kingdom in order to defeat Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. In the midst of his carnival, which was crowded with hundreds of thousands of people, at one side stood a large number of magicians holding their magic devices in their other hands, and on the other side there stood Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, all alone yet determined against all of them. The magicians swore by the grace of Pharaoh and threw their sticks and ropes onto the ground. Suddenly, those sticks and ropes became hissing snakes slithering all over the field. The whole crowd lost senses out of fear and a stampede broke out. Pharaoh and all of the magicians swelled with arrogance upon demonstrating their show and began to clap arrogantly, considering in their victory. Meanwhile, upon receiving the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam placed his holy staff among the snakes. The blessed staff turned into a big and horrifying serpent that swallowed all of the snakes and of the magicians. Upon witnessing this miracle, all of the magicians admitted their defeat and fell prostrate while proclaiming, "We believe in him who is the Lord of Harun and Musa." Therefore, while mentioning this incident, the Holy Quran says, translation from Kanzul Iman, they said, "O Musa, either you throw first or shall we throw first?" He said, "Rather you may throw." Thereupon their ropes and their sticks by the strength of their magic appeared to him as if they were fast running. And Musa sensed fear in his heart. We said, "Do not fear, it is you who is dominant, and cast down what is in your right hand. It will swallow their fabrications. What they have made is the trick of the magician, and a magician does not prosper anywhere he comes." Therefore all of the magicians were put down to prostrate. They said, "We believe in him who is the Lord of Harun and Musa." Number 2. Springs emerged by virtue of staff's stroke. Syria was the native country of Israelites, the Bani Israel. But these people settled in Egypt during the reign of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And the people of Amalika, the worst of the unbelievers, dominated Syria. When Pharaoh drowned in the river Nile and Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was secured from the tyrannies of Pharaoh, Allah Azza wa Jal commanded Musa alayhi salam to do jihad, a holy war against the people of Amalika and free Syria from their domination. Therefore, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam mobilized an army of 600,000 Israelites and moved for jihad. However, when the Israelites reached within the borders of Syria, they became so terrified of the people of Amalika that they gave up and fled from jihad. As a consequence of disobedience, disobeying the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Israelites were punished in such a way that they were wandering in the plains of Tih for 40 years and could not get out of it. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam also stayed with them in that field. When those people became restless due to the thirst and hunger in the plains where no signs of food and water existed, Allah Azza wa Jal descended man or salva for them from the skies by virtue of the supplication made by Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Man was a type of sweet confectionery similar to honey, and salva was roasted quails. After eating, when they became restless due to extreme thirst, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam struck a stone with his staff. Immediately 12 springs emerged from the stone. The 12 tribes of the Bani Israel began drinking water from their individual springs and also served this water to their cattle. It continued for 40 years. It was a miracle of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam that occurred with the help of the holy staff and stone. The Holy Quran describes this miracle as under. Translation from Kanzul Iman. And when Musa asked for water for his people, we said, strike this rock with your staff. Straight away 12 springs gushed forth from it. Each group recognized its drinking place. And number 3, stroke of staff split the Niles. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam preached Pharaoh for a long time and showed him heavenly signs and miracles. However, he did not embrace the truth and grew even further in his mischief and stubbornness. The Israelites did not accept Pharaoh as their Lord, therefore he tortured them severely. During this persecution, a divine revelation was revealed upon Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, directing him to migrate from Egypt along with the Bani Israel overnight. Therefore Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam left Egypt overnight along with the Israelites. When Pharaoh came to know about it, he mobilized his army to arrest the Israelites. When the two armies became close to each other, the Israelites shrieked out of fear of Pharaoh and thought that they would now be arrested by Pharaoh. The prevailing situation for the Israelites was very serious because at one side they were confronted by the river with big tidal waves in front of them and the bloodthirsty army of Pharaoh on the other side. Under this alarming situation, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was relaxed and was consoling the Israelites. When they approached the river, Allah Azza wa Jal commanded Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam to strike the river with his staff. Therefore, the moment he alayhi salam struck the river with his blessed staff, 12 clear roads developed across the river. The Israelites walked over these 12 paths and crossed the river safely. When Pharaoh reached the river and saw the 12 roads, he went onto the roads along with his army. However, when he and his army reached the middle of the river, suddenly the huge waves rose and engulfed the roads. Consequently, the Pharaoh drowned into the river along with his army. The Holy Quran mentioned this incident in these words. Translation from Kanzul Iman. And when the two groups saw each other, those with Musa said, "They have captured us," said Musa. "Not so. Indeed, my Lord is with me. He will now show me the way." So we sent the divine revelation to Musa that strike the sea with your staff. Thereupon the sea parted, so each part became like a huge mountain. And we brought the others close to that place. And we saved Musa and all those with him, then drowned the others. Indeed, in this is necessarily a sign, and most of them were not Muslims. These are the three wonderful miracles that occurred through the blessed staff of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam that have been mentioned in the Holy Quran repeatedly in different contexts to provide moral lessons for the people. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.